All right. Hello, everybody. What's up? This is an inaugural episode of the Starting Five podcast. Well, this is the second one, but we accidentally deleted the first one. But that's neither here nor there. Basketball podcast, NBA, fantasy basketball, role players, all the good stuff. My name is Michael, and we have a sort of rotating cast of five guys. Sometimes we'll all be here, sometimes four will be here, sometimes three will be here. We're probably going to have minimum three. I don't think we'll ever have less than that. And so today we got Noah and Artin. So can you guys just introduce yourselves? Tell us like a bit about where you go to school and your favorite player right now.
All right, so what's going on, guys? I'm Noah Burns. I'm over at Brock University in St. Catharines, Ontario. Right now, I'd say Kevin Love's my favorite player because I like to play like him, rebound and shoot threes and stretch the floor as a bigger guy. Don't play all that much defense, so that works out.
All right, Artin.
All right. Hey everyone, I'm Artin. I go to Ryerson University. My favorite player is DeLon Wright, coming off the bench for the Raptors, leader of the second unit. Great player.
Basically do it. All right, as for me, I go to Queen's University in Kingston, not Jamaica, and my favorite basketball player is definitely Dion Waiters because, like him, I will shoot 20 shots even if I make 0.
The Warrior Killer.
You already know. Okay, so basically what we're going to do in this podcast, we got main topics, usually one per person, and so from 3 to 5, and then we'll also have a role player of the week. We define a role player as a guy who does not create for himself and others a lot, and that's an and. So, I would say that a pure point guard is still a role player because he creates for others, but and a pure scorer, someone like Lou Williams, just creates for himself. So they're not considered really. They're considered to be role players, while a guy like Tyreke Evans, who's averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, and is constantly running offense, I wouldn't consider to be a role player. I think Lou Williams is kind of a bad example given the fact that he's been scoring 30 points a game, but a guy like that. And then we're also going to have a little fancy segment about just, good under-the-radar pickups for your team, if you play that kind of stuff. And other than that, we're just going to chop it up. All right,
Let's get started.
Noah, you can start us off with your topic and present an argument for whatever it is.
Okay, so our first topic, we're going to talk about the East. The East is pretty competitive right now. You got the likes of the Raptors, Wizards, Boston, and Cleveland. Right now, I'm kind of going to be defending Cleveland. They've been struggling recently, but you know what? They're still getting used to Isaiah Thomas coming back. And it's important to note last year, he averaged 29 points and 6 assists. But of course, with playing next to LeBron James, we're going to see those decrease. He's coming off an injury. No surprise there. But the Cavs definitely need a playmaker. LeBron can't do everything. And, Kevin Love can't really create his own shot. But they need Isaiah to make plays, get in the lane, kick it out to spot-up shooters. He'll definitely be a welcome addition to the Cavs offense. On the flip side, though, defensively, they're really struggling. They're old. LeBron's not really playing much defense anymore. It takes too much of a toll on his body. Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Love not playing any defense, Korver not playing any defense. So they're really going to look towards their bench and their second unit with Dwayne Wade to come in and just try to bring some energy. Tristan Thompson, if he doesn't get traded, needs to patrol the paint more. But you know what? I think the most important thing for this Cavs team going forward is to get Isaiah Thomas and Dwayne Wade and the second unit performing well, so LeBron can take a breather. He'll be, ready for the playoffs, which maybe the East won't be a cakewalk for them. So they're going to need LeBron rested.
All right, so Arden, you have a different take on. So you're saying basically that you still think the Cavs are going to win the East. Sorry, Noah.
I think they're too talented to lose the East, but I do give Boston and Toronto a better chance at maybe beating the Cavs, but I still like them overall because of LeBron James.
Okay, so Arden, you are a homer in the fact that you're a big Raptors fan. You think that they have a better chance, right? So why don't you tell Noah why he's wrong?
Look, the Raptors look incredible this year. They're done with the old days of just ISO, Lowry,
ball,
ISO
baby.
Mar. They're done with that. They're moving the ball. They're hitting threes all over. I think they're 5th or 6th or something like that in 3-point attempts per game.
Huge improvement.
And they're hitting so many assists every single game. I would argue I think they have one of the best second units in the NBA, if not the best second unit in the NBA. Here's some stats for you. There are only 2 teams in the league that are top 5 in offensive and defensive rating. That's the Raptors and Golden State.
Oh.
Yeah, the Raptors are 5th in
net rating in the whole league, and they're only 0.1 behind Houston, so they're pretty much tied for second. Only Golden State has better, of course, because that's just Golden State, but we're talking about the East.
Yeah.
Look, they showed it the other day. Obviously, the Cavs are at a real low point right now, so maybe you can't take it completely seriously, but they just destroyed the Cavs. It was unbelievable without one of their best players, Kyle Lowry, their point guard, so an important player, and Serge Ibaka, who's he's a defensive anchor, as much as maybe some of us don't like him that much. He's important on defense. He gets a lot of blocks, and they just ruined the Cavs. I've never seen anything like that. So I'm really liking the Raptors this year. I think they're playing well. They have a nice new system. What it really comes down to is last 5 minutes of the game. Can Dwayne Casey
actually coach?
Can he coach?
Yeah. Well, you know what, Artin, I give you and the Raptors, even being a local Toronto boy, give them some credit. I always mock the Raptors for having no direction. They're stuck in this mid-level sort of playoff team that's not going to pass the conference finals. But you know what? They have direction. I like Van Vliet. I like OG. I like Pirtle still.
And of course, the leader of the second unit,
DeLon Wright.
Mr. DeLon Wright.
DeLon Wright is looking great. And if that second unit, not a lot of playoff experience, but if they can compete with the Cavs second unit and torch them like they did the other night, they do have a good chance. But I give the experience of the Cavs a better shot in the playoffs.
And my favorite thing about that second unit is they just come on the court and they play so hard.
Energy. Yeah.
They run back and forth on transitions. It's ridiculous. They just play with so much hustle. It's amazing.
Siakam's
Yo, he is always sprinting, man. It's crazy. Like he's always in the corner of the screen, sprinting down the court. It's phenomenal to watch. I don't know. Yeah. I have a different take than both you guys.
Okay.
I still am just want to say the Cavs are gonna win because they always look like they're not trying and they just kill everyone when it matters. And I hate to doubt LeBron because it's LeBron. Every time someone doubts LeBron, he's top 3 guy I think ever. And I look at the Raptors and man, I have no faith in their best players in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan
they don't bring it.
They call them the Choke Brothers. How they have the Clay and Steph Splash Brothers? They're the Choke Brothers. Yeah. They're so bad. I remember last year in the first round, they beat Milwaukee without Jabari Parker and with a sort of half-healthy Chris Middleton. Still took them 6 games. And there was a game where DeMar DeRozan had 2 points, and another game where he had 8. He disappeared again. Lowry, I think, averaged 14 points a game in the postseason last year. He did not show up to play at all. And look, their bench looks so much better than last year. Their system looks so much better than last year. But at the end of the day, when your best players need to show up, they don't. And the problem with that is that the 2 other competing teams, because I think Jason Kidd has taken over from Dwayne Casey as easily the worst coach in the East, given the fact that he has, 3 all-star caliber players, 4 if you count Jabari Parker, and 1 top 10 player, and he can't get out of the bottom half of the East. I don't know how.
Oh.
Like,
and they're long and athletic.
And they're not a great defensive team, which makes no sense to me. I mean,
makes no sense.
If they can grab, I think if they can get rid of him and they can grab David Fizdale off coaching, who's a real tough defensive guy, they could be scary in a year or so. But that's not what this part is about. I think the Wizards are pretenders. They don't have a bench, and Bradley Beal and John Wall are not good. Are just as bad as Lowry and DeRozan in clutch situations statistically, but they're a little more flashy. People don't even know that. I don't give them a chance. But
so who does that leave you with?
It leaves me with the Boston Celtics. And
look,
Brad Stevens, Popovich is retiring soon, and he's going to take over as the best coach in the league. His defensive schemes are incredible. He's got guys like Kyrie Irving and Al Horford, who are not naturally gifted defenders, playing incredible defense. I mean, like, they shut down Joel Embiid twice this season, and that's not an easy feat, given that he went for 35 on the Raptors the very next day. I mean,
and their big men aren't great on Boston either.
Yeah, like, they're a small team, but look, what scares me about Boston with Toronto is they know how to defend and they know how to bully motion offenses, and the Raptors aren't a tough basketball team. That's the thing. No. Like, they're not a physical basketball team, and their most physical player, Jonas Valanciunas, will be cooked by the stretch fours and the stretch fives that Boston throws out there. And I always say this. It seems very, very obvious, but we always forget this. Unless your name is LeBron James, who for some reason transcends this, but he transcends a lot of things, every single time in a playoff matchup, well, 95% of the time, the team with the best player and the best coach, if they are on the same side, always wins. And when we look at Toronto versus Boston, who has the best player on either side? Boston has him. It's Kyrie Irving. He's a top 10 player in the league. He's a ridiculous shooter. He's a ridiculous ball handler. He's a decent enough playmaker, and he tries on defense. And when you look at the coaching, there's no question, because Dwayne Casey has gone from horrible to mediocre this year because he figured out that passing the ball works. And and Brad Stevens is a prodigy who's already, he brought a mid-major team to 2 national championships. Now he's bringing that college attitude of, so what, they have more talent, we are a better executing basketball team, to the pros. Now, what scares me about the Cavs is that for as good as Jaylen Brown and Tatum have been, and they've been amazing, they still can't guard LeBron. And Marcus Smart, you can't get calls the way Marcus Smart does against LeBron, because nobody gets calls against LeBron. That's just how it is. So I can't see them demolishing the Cavs, but if the Cavs come in, they have a couple injuries, they're still not playing defense, because they were able to turn it around. They were 3rd in defense in the playoffs last year.
If their age shows, I think Boston too.
Yeah, like, they have a lot of switch guys. They have a lot of guys that can guard 2 through 4. And, maybe the Celtics can't beat Cleveland because of LeBron, but they can throw so many bodies at him that they'll be able to wear him down, go 7 games, and then let Kyrie dance all over the Cavs, because the Cavs don't have anyone to guard Kyrie. I mean, J.R. Smith's old. Dwayne Wade, I think he can probably handle a decent amount of Kyrie Irving, just because he's so smart and crafty, and he probably knows where he's going, because, Kyrie's kind of like the new Dwayne Wade in a sense, in that he's just like this really crafty, athletic guard. But I still see Boston possibly taking the Cavs 7 and beating them, because we don't know what happens when Jason Tatum is given the green light, which he might get in the playoffs. We know Jaylen Brown shows up because he put 20-something on the Warriors. And look, they're physical, they're young, they're tough. The Raptors don't have the bodies that they have. The Cavs don't either. And, I mean, I hate betting against great coaching, because it always works. Because that's why Mike D'Antoni can never beat Greg Popovich, because good coaching is always outdone by great coaching. So I think they're definitely a lock to beat the Raptors, and they have a really, really strong chance against the Cavs, even when the Cavs figure it out, I think.
Yeah, it comes down to, against Toronto, if they got Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Smart, all throwing bodies at DeRozan like that, there's no chance. But if those 3 can, silence LeBron James, they have a good chance, but
well, they're not silencing him, but they can slow him down.
Only one person can silence LeBron James.
Oh, don't you say DeMarre Carroll.
I'm not going to say DeMarre Carroll. I'm going to say the best defender in the league right now.
OG Anunoby?
OG Anunoby.
I think Anunoby will be a good defender. He could probably do make some problems with LeBron in like 2019 when LeBron's 36 and he's 21, but not right now. LeBron's gonna take him in the post and just bully the shit out of him. Just kill him.
Look, the only thing that scares me about Boston, because look, I think the whole Lowry DeRozan problem, I think that comes down to Dwayne Casey, because imagine being a coach as good as Brad Stevens, and you're about to play Toronto in the playoffs, and what you have to defend against is giving DeMar DeRozan the ball and then just seeing what he can do.
Just move the ball, Toronto. That's all you got to do. Move the ball.
And they're doing it now.
I get it.
I think a lot of that comes down to coaching. It'll probably be a little bit of a mental thing as well, but I think they can get past that.
But
what scares me about Boston is Kyrie is so clutch. Yeah. It's scary. It's ridiculous. It's inhumane how clutch he is.
Yeah.
And then you put that together with Brad Stevens coaching. That last 5 minutes of the game, I think Boston can come back from a 30-point lead.
Yeah,
just because of Kyrie and Brad Stevens.
Yeah,
Toronto needs home floor. Hold on, Artin, I want to ask you this. So you're saying it's the system. So now you have to take into account two things. You're now asking C.J. Miles, OG Anunoby, who I think is going to be a really good basketball player. He's just really young right now. Norman Powell and DeLon Wright are those type of guys. Jakob Poeltl, Serge Ibaka, these guys to hit shots. Second, the Celtics bullied the Warriors out of their motion. So if they can bully the Warriors out of their motion, now they probably couldn't do it for 7 games, what makes you think they can't bully the Raptors out of that same motion offense that they run?
Well, look, this Celtics team, they've been winning a ridiculous number of their games from like 20-point leads, they've come back. 15-point leads, they come back. So clearly it takes them some time to figure it out either way.
Wouldn't that make them better later in series, though?
No, because then you have more time to figure it out as the coach of the other team.
Okay,
right? When you're planning for a 7-game series, right? I feel like that's less likely to happen, and that's why I have trouble trusting this Boston team. Right? Are you going to come back from a 20-point lead every single game, 7-game series?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you know what?
It's a good point.
Toronto's second unit's better.
Toronto has the best second unit in the NBA.
I don't know if I can say it's the best second unit in basketball, but they're good. They can play. They're young. They're athletic. I think I'd still take the Golden State second unit because Livingston and Iguodala start on every other team in the league.
Yeah.
And JaVale McGee's he's goofy, but he can catch lobs and block shots. What else do you need him to do? He's basically a really bargain bin DeAndre Jordan, Rudy Gobert type. All right, I think we got to move on now because we've been going at this for a bit. Let's move on to our role player of the week, and that is going to be Mr. Robert Covington, and he plays for the Philadelphia 76ers. This year, he slowed down a bit. He had a great start, but he's still averaging 13.6 points a game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and almost a block. He hits 3 threes a game, and I'm a big Sixers fan. I love the process. And Covington, when he's playing well and you watch the Sixers, they're a top 5 East team. I mean, he stretches the floor well. He takes your other team's best player and he gives them problems. He's a big physical defender. Switch from 2 to 4. He can hit the 3. He's been off since he got hurt. He's only averaging about 10 points in the last month. But he'll still find a way to do something. He's still averaging around 2 steals in this last month. He's still averaging around 6 rebounds. He's a really, really good free throw shooter. He shoots about 85%, and he's been shooting 91% for the last month. And, he continues to improve, even though he's about 25 years old, and I think he's a really great piece for this Philadelphia team going forward, and a guy that you're going to want in your roster until he's 34, because he can fit into any position from 2 to 4, and he can guard anybody, and he can come off the bench if you need him to, and he's just a great guy to have. Noah, what do you think about Robert Covington?
You know what? We've labeled him the stat stuffer. You already mentioned his stats, but you know what? I love his 2 steals and that block per game. He's a great 3-and-D two-way player. He's a must-own. Every team could use a guy like Robert Covington to knock down shots on the other end and go back on defense and lock someone up. in the future, his consistency needs to improve in his jump shot and his health. But you can't control health always. But hopefully he can stay healthy and he'll get a good season run on an exciting Sixers team.
Yeah, I think that there is a debate, right? Because he was ranked higher than Melo on the NBA ranking thing that ESPN did, but I don't think there's a team in the league that would take Melo over Robert Covington at this point. I mean, he stretches the floor and plays defense. What else do you need? Artin,
absolutely.
Artin, what do you think about Robert Covington?
What I like about Robert Covington, you talked about how he had the hot start and now he's had little injury trouble. What I like about him is he comes on the court every game and he's a solid, productive player. It doesn't matter if he's a little bit injured. He just came back, first game back. It doesn't matter when he's playing. He comes on and he's a productive member. He's never a liability, and he's always helping out the team.
Yeah, definitely. Even when he's not having those great shooting nights, he's doing something. He's taking, someone out of the game or just stretching the floor because he's just a hazard for the other team. Okay, so moving on to the next one, Artin, can you please introduce the new topic?
Very well. All right, this season we've had one of the best crops of rookies that we've seen in a long time. It looks like everyone down at the 25th pick has just been a productive member of every team. We've had some stars in this rookie class. It's ridiculous. And so what we're going to talk about, top 5 rookies of this class for each of us. And I'll start.
You going to give us honorables?
Place. Sorry?
Give us the honorables, yeah?
We're going to do honorable mentions as well after.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do it first?
I always thought it'd just make more sense. Just do a quick
brief.
We'll do
first. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
give us 2 honorable mentions really quick. Yeah.
All right. Well, my honorable mention is OG Anunoby for the Raptors. He's come on. He wasn't even supposed to play until after January because of his injury, but there he was, first game of the season, out on the court. He's taken over the starting spot at the small forward just because he's good enough. He's good size. He plays good defense. He hits threes, which is amazing. He hits a lot of threes. He's just a productive member. He plays really well, and he's on a top team, and he's really an important part of this top team in the league. So that's why I choose OG Anunoby. Mike, what do you think?
Okay, I got two honorable mentions. I love OG. I can't put him in my honorable mentions because I don't know. He's too raw for me to say he's better than these 2 guys. But he's definitely a great guy, and I think he's gonna be a real piece. First guy I got, Lonzo Ball, man. I know nobody wants to buy into the hype because his dad's loud or whatever, but look, last 12 games for the Lakers, Lonzo Ball plays in 6 of them, I think. Sorry, last 11 games he plays in 6, and he doesn't play in 6, and he plays in 5. Their record when he doesn't play, 0-6. The record when he does play, 4-1. I get it, he can't shoot. He's a terrible shooter. But he rebounds, he passes the ball, and he's a good defender, which nobody thought he was going to be. And he impacts the game. He impacts the game really well. So I'm going to give him an honorable mention. Other guy, nobody talks about him because he really can't, he's being overshadowed by someone else out there. I really love Frank out in New York. I think he's already able to defend 1 through 4, and I think we talk about OG Anunoby as a great future defender. I think Frank will be the best point guard defender once Patrick Beverley kind of dies out. He is that good. Like, I read a stat the other day where it's like, I think big men in post-up situations are like 2 for 11 against him, which is crazy, given the fact that he's 6'2" and skinny. But look, that's the type of point guard you need in on a team with a guy like Porzingis. Not a score-first guy, just I hit threes and I pass the ball and I play defense. That's what we need, and I think he fits great. Noah, what are your honorable mentions?
Funny enough, I got a combo of both the guys that you two said. I have Lonzo and OG mainly for the same reasons. When Lonzo plays, the Lakers seem to be better. They seem to win more games, and their offense is more fluid. And OG, obviously, because he can knock down corner threes and play defense on the other end, which the Raptors desperately need. But yeah, I got the two as you guys.
All right.
All right.
So
Let's get into the rankings then.
okay.
Number 5, I have Dennis Smith Jr. I think a lot of why he's playing well is maybe because he's on Dallas, but that's still a team with people like Harrison Barnes, and Dirk still can hit 20 points a game sometimes, so I feel like he doesn't have his work that cut out for him. He's been just a good player. He can score. He plays really well, and I think he's going to be a really important player for that team in the future, so I put him at number 5.
All right, for me, number 5, I got Lauri Markkanen. I wish he had fallen a little bit lower because I'd love to see him and Porzingis play together. Just two guys that are stretch big men, 4 and 5s. It'd be so much fun to watch. But in Chicago, I mean, him and Levine, they're kind of a scary combo going forward. He's a great stretch player. He's a decent defender for the athleticism that he has. He's a great 3-point shooter. He's a pretty good rebounder. I mean, he does everything you need in a modern big. In the vein of a Kevin Love or a Porzingis. So, I mean, I think he's a real piece. I think he's going to be a star, a borderline all-star in his career. Nerds?
Okay, with my 5th pick, I have Tatum.
Really?
We all know how good he is,
At
how
number
athletic
5?
he is coming out of university. You know what? This Boston team needed him to step up. They lost Gordon Hayward early, and Tatum was able to fill the void surprisingly well. I think it shocked a lot of people, but he's good on both sides of the floor. He's energetic. He's athletic. He's going to be a top player in this league someday.
All right,
At
next.
5. You have him at 5.
I had him at 5, yeah.
Jeez.
On to number 4. Funny enough, my number 4 is Jason Tatum.
Jeez, what are you guys on, man?
I think there's better players out there right now,
You're
Mike.
fried. Okay, go.
All right, let's move on. Jason Tatum, I feel like what I especially like about him is he wasn't supposed to be here, right? I think I remember Danny Ainge before the season started. He said, "No, Tatum's not going to be Rookie of the Year because he's not going to get that much playing time."
Yep.
And then down goes Hayward, and now suddenly we have a productive member of the team. He can defend. He's really surprisingly polished on offense. He looks so comfortable out there, and Celtics are first in the East, and he's been a real big part of that. So Jason Tatum at number 4.
Number 4, I got Kyle Kuzma. I mean, the guy can just flat out score the basketball, and he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. He's gotten a lot better. He's began to improve his defense, which is still the worst part about him. He's not a great passer. He just looks to score pretty much, but whatever. The Lakers kind of need that. And, I mean, look, he can score and he can rebound. I think just like Markkanen, I think he's a borderline all-star type guy, like a CJ McCollum level player. I mean, I guess a better comparison of both of those guys is Kevin Love, but Kevin Love is more of a cemented all-star. I don't know if they're ever going to be that good. But, I mean, both of those guys, especially Kuzma, he's a little more athletic than Markkanen. He has more potential, I feel like, as a defender. And, I mean, I just love how he fits on the Lakers team with an all-around guy like Ingram and a pure passer like Lonzo. It's a fantastic situation for him, and he's stepping up. Nerds?
I got Lauri Markkanen as my 4th pick. You know what? He can flat out shoot the ball, and he plays my favorite position, that stretch 4. And he's been the only bright spot in Chicago this year. And I can't wait for him and Levine to maybe build something in Chicago. But we can all agree that Markkanen is a building block in Chicago for their future. But his ability to shoot, as you said, Mike, his ability to defend, with limited athleticism, he's impressed me quite a bit. And he can put the ball on the floor, too, if he needs to.
I mean, I think if the Bulls end up trading Mirotic and they lose a bunch of games, if they get Trae Young in the draft, and you got Trae Young, Zach LaVine, and Markkanen, that's a scary team going forward.
As long as Trae Young isn't turning it over 12 times a game, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, they can work on that. But
it's up to Chris Dunn.
Well, Chris Dunn, I think, could be a really a really good a sixth man type guy, and I think a 3-guard lineup because Levine's a bit taller. You went small with those 3 guys, a bully like Dunn, and then scorers like Trey Young and
Marking it at
Levine.
the 5.
And with Markin at the 5, you put Bobby Portis at the 4. That's a scary lineup like 3 years from now.
Yeah, they you know what? Chicago fans can be happy that there is a future. Markkanen's like a Porzingis, you know. I don't think Chicago fans were overjoyed by that pick, but you know, he's another unicorn. He's going to surprise them.
I feel that.
Things looked a lot worse for them before the season started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A lot worse.
Artin, what are you saying for 3?
Artin, you got your 3rd?
Yep, I got it. Number 3, I have Kyle Kuzma. He's 3rd of all rookies right now in scoring, just barely below Ben Simmons. And, you know, I'd say the next 2 we're going to talk about are kind of a level above the rest. So 3rd, I think, is a very respectable place to be. He's come out to that Lakers team with really no expectations. I heard absolutely nothing about him before the league started. And here he is scoring, you know, 16 points a game, getting boards. He overtook the starting spot from Julius Randle or Larry Nance or whoever it was. I can't remember, but he's playing above both of them now, and both of them are solid players. I think he's just come out there and done a great job, so I have him number 3. Mike, what you got?
Number 3 for me is Donovan Mitchell. That boy can play basketball, man. He is he's like Isaiah Thomas, but more physical. Like, he has that dog in him. He wants to kill everybody. And look, I get it, man. You want to go see your old college coach. You know, it's big city Boston, but man, with Tatum going the way he is, Gordon Hayward, man, you should have stayed. You, Rudy Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell. That's a good basketball team. And I don't know. I think, look, Mitchell, he's been, a 22-point scorer since November. I think his slow start kind of messed up his stats, but he's aggressive, he's mean, he's athletic, but he's not dependent on his athleticism, which means he's going to be good for a long time. And, I mean, look, two years in a row, 2 players in a row, the Utah Jazz have found a guy late in the lottery and turned him into a star. And they have to be commended for that because right after they lost their franchise piece, they added another franchise piece. Now, this is the one thing I want to say about Donovan Mitchell. He might never be a great defender, which is why it would have been great if the stupid-ass Denver Nuggets had not traded him for Trey Lyles on draft night. Because I'll tell you this right now. Donovan Mitchell, Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic, that core, I know Millsap's a bit older, that core is like Minnesota Timberwolves good. That's a ridiculously good core. And instead they have his stretch fours, playing pretty well right now, but he's not Donovan Mitchell.
Well, he's a Canadian, so...
Yeah. He's good, man. He's good.
He can knock down the 3, so...
Yeah, I guess. But I would take Donovan Mitchell 70,000 times before I took Trey Lyles. All right, next.
Oh, absolutely.
What's your 3rd? Who's your 3rd?
Like Artin, I have Kuzma at the 3rd pick. You know what? He's better than Lonzo Ball currently.
Yeah,
he's the better player. I get Lonzo's influence on this team, but Artin, you mentioned all the offensive stats and how good he's played, but Kyle Kuzma saved them at least 2 years of rebuilding through the draft. He is a bright spot where, you know what, they need maybe, I would say, 1 or 2 more drafts to start competing in the West, but he definitely took off a year for sure. Great pick, sleeper, no hype around Kyle Kuzma, but now there definitely is. He's a good player.
All right, move on to number 2. Number 2, I have Donovan Mitchell. He's just a monster. He's ridiculous. I don't know. He's so good. He's leading all rookies in points per game right now, almost 19, which for a rookie, 19 points that's ridiculous. He's shooting 44%, 35 from 3, so these are very respectable numbers. Also, another thing, he's first in rookies in free throw percentage, which sometimes goes unnoticed, but that can be very important, especially in clutch situations.
Yeah.
He's really taken what was a hopeless Utah team. They really didn't have any expectations, and he's made them a happy crowd. He's just a monster. He's so good. So I put him at number 2.
especially with Gobert going down this year.
Yeah.
Without Mitchell, they'd have to rely on Joe Ingles, and that's a problem.
Nah, you guys are sleeping
That's
on my
a
boy
problem.
Joe. You guys are sleeping on him. Elite
Oh, he's
3 and D.
alright.
Elite 3 and D.
Oh yeah, God.
Or Mike, who do you have it to?
I have Jason Tatum at 2. I have no idea how you guys don't put him at a top 2 at least. Look, I get it. His
Boston's
stats
too
aren't
busy.
crazy. His stats aren't crazy, but here's the thing. This guy is a ridiculously talented basketball player. You watch him play, and you're within 5 minutes, you're like, this guy's going to be a 27, 29 point per game scorer. I have a theory. I don't think that the Boston Celtics are ever going to win a championship when Kyrie Irving is their best player. But I think they're going to win a championship if Jason Tatum is, because eventually, I think within 3 years, he's going to be better than Kyrie Irving. Now, I also think they're going to have Anthony Davis, so that Kyrie might be the third best player on a championship team. Who knows? But he is so efficient. He's shooting 50% from the field right now as a rookie. He is the third best player on the best team in the East as a rookie. Like, he is 46% from 3. He can create his own shot. He can get to the rim. He has a good mid-range game. He's so ridiculously polished as an offensive player, and then add to the fact that he can literally guard 1 through 4 already, which I think only him and Ben Simmons can do that, but I'll get to Ben Simmons later. He is absolutely phenomenal, and I think that if they gave him 20 shots a game, he'd average 25 right now. I think if he was on the Utah Jazz right now, the Jazz might be in the 9 seed. Like, he's that good. He is an incredible basketball player. Like, I'm wowed every time I see him.
Nice. Okay, so at 2, I got Ben Simmons. We don't need to discuss Big Ben that much. We all know how good he is.
You're crazy.
What was that?
That's ridiculous.
Crazy?
That's
hey,
insane.
there's been a rookie playing better than him. I'm sorry.
All right,
this
man.
guy is technically a 2-year player.
All right, I get it, but still, man.
But anyways, 17 points per game, 8 rebounds, 7.3 assists, 2 steals and a block. Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. Especially on a young team like the Sixers. We've been making like Lonzo Ball comparisons to Magic Johnson for some reason. This guy has a better chance of becoming a Magic Johnson more than Lonzo Ball. But
100%.
My only issue and why he doesn't go as my first pick is the free throw percentage. He's shooting around 56% from the free throw line. I don't think that's good enough, especially in fourth quarter play, because the Sixers are going to get in some tight games, and if Ben Simmons can't hit free throws, it's going to be hack-a-Ben, and that's not good.
I just like to point out that when Ben Simmons was beating Artin's Raptors and they came back, he hit 2 clutch free throws, and he hit a layup, and he stole the ball from Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, well, we're about to talk about Ben Simmons, so why don't we give it a second, eh?
All right.
Because my number 1 is Ben Simmons. Let me list some stuff for you. Out of all rookies, he's second in points per game, first in rebounds per game, first in assists per game, first in steals per game, third in blocks per game. He has 18 double-doubles and 4 triple-doubles. He's absolutely insane. He's not a rookie. He's a 12-year vet.
It's insane, man. He's so good.
Of course, no, you talked about the bad things. You talked about the free throw shooting.
Well, that's the only bad thing, and maybe an improved three-point ball.
It's not the only bad thing, because on the season, he's 0 of 10 from 3.
Yikes.
Yeah, so obviously he has some way to go. I think maybe the 3-point shooting could really hurt him in the future, but bottom line, he's insane. He's playing 35 minutes a game as a rookie, and he's just... I have no words. He's ridiculous. He's amazing. Mike, I know you have him at number 1 too. What do you think?
Look, this is what we don't talk about. Ben Simmons is one of 5 basketball players on the earth right now that can guard 1 through 5 well.
Yes.
20 years old. I was watching the game when they were playing the Raptors. He switched on a screen and perfectly guarded Kyle Lowry and Jonas Valanciunas at the exact same play. He is by far the best rookie. He's a top 50 player in the league already. I get that he can't shoot, but he's figuring it out. And look, he's so ridiculously naturally talented that you can tell that he's still improving as a player. And by his third year, he'll probably be a top 10 guy in the league. Like, he's a naturally gifted passer and rebounder. He's a great finisher around the rim. And he's figuring out his jump shot, not to mention he's going to probably be the best defender in the league. Like, he's basically Draymond Green, but with way more athleticism and way more ability to create. Like, that's how... And Draymond Green is a top 20 player and maybe the third best player on a championship team and was possibly the second best player on a championship team 3 years ago. I mean, I cannot sit here and feel like there's anybody else in the league with more upside than Ben Simmons, except maybe Giannis, but I think Giannis is more on his way. I think we've yet to see a tenth of what he can do. And I know this is top 5 rookies, but the fact is that 1/10 of Ben Simmons is still miles better than any other rookie except for Jason Tatum and maybe Donovan Mitchell. But, I mean, look, you told me I have to draft one guy. I'm in the league right now to build my franchise on. I'm probably going with Ben Simmons. I know Anthony Davis and Giannis are great, but neither of them have been proven they're able to win. And Ben Simmons almost has his team in a playoff spot in his first year, something none of these young guys has been able to do. I know he has Embiid, but none of these guys are the second best player on the playoff team in their first year, and that's just what it is. I think that he's just a special talent and a future top 5 player. Yeah, Ben Simmons, man, incredible.
All right. So my top rookie is Donovan Mitchell. I do agree. Ben Simmons is the better player, but I think Donovan Mitchell deserves the respect of this spot because he gave hope to a Utah Jazz organization. They're fighting for a playoff spot right now without Gobert. And older favors. Guys like Joe Ingles. And he's been insane. The top rookie in scoring. Free throw percentage is good. My only issue with him is his kind of combo guard. Is he more of a point guard? Should he be a shooting guard? Should Utah get another point guard? But he's been the best performing rookie so far, and he deserves that number 1 spot. But I think in further years to come, there will be better rookies than him. But I like comparing him to Westbrook just at the way he attacks the rim with energy, and he's fierce around the rim. So I give him number 1.
Nice.
All right.
Now, since we're on the topic of rookies, I just wanted to bring something up because you guys played a lot of basketball when you were younger. I never did. Basketball's new to me. So, Markelle Fultz, how does this happen?
This is what happened.
Where is he?
Okay? This is what happened. Bryan Colangelo is the worst executive in the NBA. It's not even close. You were around, and you weren't around for the Bryan Colangelo era of the Raptors, but they lost Chris Bosh, they drafted Andrea Bargnani first, and they sucked forever. As soon as he left and they got Masai Ujiri, he threw everyone out, got a bunch of good role players from the Knicks for Calderon and Bargnani, continues to draft very, very good role players who have a chance of becoming stars in this league, and Bryan Colangelo sat for a bit, and then the Sixers, who are being forced to kick Sam Hinkie out of their office because he was losing on purpose, they hire them, and guess what? The first thing they do is ruin their number 1 pick because his jump shot looked kind of weird in college. They've ruined this kid's career. They deserve to pay him money for the rest of his life because they ruined what he was best at. And it's a joke. It angers me to know that some kid, some 19-year-old, who was, looking like he was going to be a Damian Lillard type player, someone who can just go and get you 25, which with a team with Embiid and Simmons is perfect fit. I mean, you've just lost what was going to be the final piece to a dynastic team who could win 2-3 championships. Now, what they are is a contender in 5 years that could pull one off 1 year. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I don't understand the decision to trade up for Markelle Fultz, especially if they decided that their future point guard is Ben Simmons. I don't quite get the addition of Fultz because he can't be a combo guard who's going to shoot the three because he can't shoot. So I don't understand from the management side why they decided to make that trade up for Markelle Fultz. Like, I get it, he hasn't been given a real chance yet because of his injuries, but when he comes back and he's fighting for his NBA survival when he comes back.
I mean, that's the thing though, Nerns. He was a great shooter in college. He was a 40% three-point shooter.
I actually went back and I watched some highlights because I was like, this. I remember seeing him.
So was Lonzo Ball. Lonzo was a good shooter in college too.
But his mechanics are different now.
Lonzo Ball's form was always weird. We knew something was going to happen. We always knew it was unsustainable. When Markelle Fultz shot in college, it looked okay. You know, it looked like a comfortable. And now it's like there's a new video every day of him, you know, doing some weird slow like from his chest shot. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, like it looks completely different. I watched a lot of Markelle Fultz highlights because I did think he was better than Lonzo Ball, and I thought him and Jason Tatum were the two best prospects. But they literally ruined his jump shot. Like they took it and said it looks weird, let's fix it, and then broke it. Like
so we're seeing a coaching issue in Philadelphia.
It's a training
right
issue.
Now.
It's an executive issue. It's just something that happens when you try too hard to figure out what's going on. And you know what? I get it. Like, you want your players to be best. His release was a bit slow, but look, you go watch even the Summer League highlights, and they were fine.
Yeah.
Like, he was a good player in Summer League, and he probably would have taken a little longer to pop, but Nerns, like, he's not a great creator, but he was a great scorer. And if you had a great scorer, a Kyrie Irving, Dame Lillard, Isaiah Thomas type, except bigger than all those guys because he was 6'5", alongside a playmaker.
Simmons, oof.
And you got and they can't pack the middle because Embiid's there, so you have to choke up on him because if you sag on him, he'll get easy entries and he'll get threes, and you have to keep the lane clear because Covington and Redick, who said he's going to re-sign for the minimum next year, are going to be on the sides. Wow. It was a perfect situation, and they ruined it. It's nobody but their fault.
Okay,
it's insane.
Yeah. It's just a ridiculous thing, and it makes me angry.
It's insane.
If someone has to be held accountable, and it's not Markelle Fultz. They ruined the kid's career. All right, we got to keep going. Next one, we're gonna do fantasy check-in. Artin, give me a pickup, real quick, that you picked up lately that helped you a lot.
All right, pickup. This one's a little bit obvious because Reggie Jackson got injured, but last year, beginning of the season, Reggie Jackson couldn't play, and Ish Smith came out and he was fantastic. So this year, as soon as Reggie Jackson went down, I got on that right away, and he has one double-double, and he's just been productive. He gets points, he gets a lot of assists, he gets some decent defensive stats. If he's on the waiver, then you should definitely pick him up in fantasy.
All right, so for me, he's not going to be great for that much longer because James Harden's coming back, but man, Gerald Green has been amazing for me. He got signed a couple of weeks ago, and he's been a great three-point shooter. Doesn't do much but threes and points, but if you're looking for a guy who can get you a little bit of that, his percentages, they sway, but he's always a 10 to 15-point guy until Harden comes back, and maybe even after. Great guy to have, for sure. Nerns?
Right. I think I got myself a future... for the rest of this fantasy season, a future pickup that might help you down the stretch. I like Bogdan Bogdanović from Sacramento Kings. 16 points, 3.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and a steal in the last 2 weeks. That's very exciting. Mostly resulting because George Hill just, he's aging. People thought he would be better, but he's not been good at all. And Sacramento's going to start resting 2 veterans each game, so George Hill's out of the equation. Bogdan Bogdanović is in.
I just want to say something for everyone else. It looks like Nikola Vucevic is going to be on the trade market. See if they can get some picks for him. So if you haven't picked up Bismack Biyombo yet, he's been playing amazing, and if they're able to deal him before the trade deadline, Vucevic that is, you have Vucevic, you will be able to play both those guys the whole season and and they'll both be productive. So if you haven't picked him up yet, make sure you get him. He's playing really well now, and worst case scenario, he's a good big for 4 weeks. Okay.
Well, I wish he was still in Toronto.
Yeah, he can just block shots, man. He's a good.
He's just an energy guy. He's a good player.
And look, for a bad team, he's the perfect fantasy guy. stat stuff are on a terrible team. Okay, so my final topic, Victor Oladipo. He's been playing amazing this year. I think he's 24, 5-5. Shoots a pretty good percent. I think it's about 48%, I want to say, from the field. And he's led the Indiana Pacers to a playoff spot. And once Paul George left, nobody thought that was possible. And their future looks a little bit brighter without Paul George, to be completely honest. My question is, he's currently 4th in All-Star voting. He's slightly behind Ben Simmons and DeMar DeRozan. Should Victor Oladipo be rewarded with an All-Star starting vote this year? Should he be able to play? In my opinion, yes. I think Ben Simmons, he's not on a playoff team. It's obvious that the rookie hype, as good as I think he is, the rookie hype has gotten him to this point. I think the guards in the East aren't very good, below the top 3. But I'd give Ben Simmons a nod as a reserve, but not as a starter. I think John Wall's been hurt, and Brad Beal he doesn't do that much for me anymore. I thought he was really exciting last year, but he's kind of a lazy guy. He's not a great clutch player, and his defense has gotten worse. So I think it really does come down to DeRozan and Oladipo. Oh, and I'm just gonna say this. Kyle Lowry's so fat and he sucks. Anyway,
wow.
What I was gonna say was, just in case, Ben Simmons is better in every statistical category except for 3-pointers than Kyle Lowry. And Kyle Lowry's supposed to be an all-star. But I rest my case.
I don't think he is
between Oladipo and DeRozan, I'm taking Oladipo. He has to do more, and he still shoots a higher percentage. I understand his team is not doing as well, but his team doesn't have the guys, the Ibakas and Ananobis and Powells and Mileses that Toronto has. And I think to have the team even in the playoffs is ridiculous. So I'm taking Oladipo over DeRozan. I think DeRozan still isn't a great defender. I still think he's improved as a 3-point shooter, which I can admire that he's worked on it and he's gotten better, and I'll commend him.
Oladipo's still a better 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I think Oladipo's a better creator as a playmaker. I think he's a better shooter, and I think he's a better defender. So I got to give it to him, even though DeRozan's team doing better. But I still see Victor Oladipo as a guy who should be an MVP candidate, albeit maybe the 9th or 10th MVP candidate. But he's that good of a player, taking a team with no real defenders to a playoff spot. Only LeBron's doing that other than him. So he's been good, and I think he should be a starter. Artin, what do you think? I know you think DeRozan probably deserves it, right?
Yeah, I think DeRozan deserves it. Look, I think Oladipo's best asset is his scoring, and DeMar DeRozan scoring about a point more per game. Right? You said Oladipo's a better playmaker. I disagree. I think the only reason DeRozan doesn't get 8 assists a game is because
he's not a good passer.
Raptors usually shoot like 25% from 3.
Exactly. They need him to score. They don't need him to pass.
Well, no,
you could always use an all-around guy. I don't think that's true.
All right, but look, he's still averaging 5 assists a game. Oladipo's averaging 4. Right? I think both players are equally important to the success of their team. I don't think the Pacers have that much more of a dependence on Oladipo than DeRozan. And it's true, they have more of a dependence, but I don't think it's so significant that you can say, Oladipo has way more work to do than DeRozan. And I still think DeRozan's been the better player overall.
Okay.
What do you think, Nance?
I got to go with Artin. I give the edge to DeRozan, but not based on play. They've been playing very evenly. They're both top guards at the 2 spot in the East, but I think DeRozan's got a little more street cred, and he's a bit older. Guys know him. I think he'll get the start for the All-Star game. But I just want to mention that any teams looking for players, man, go to OKC and take them, because Oladipo and Sabonis. Indiana did not expect this, and now they got Oladipo, Sabonis, and Miles Turner all playing great. I like Indiana, and I really like Oladipo, especially seeing his improvement after his season with Russ. But I'm going to give the edge to DeRozan.
I just want to point out.
I think if the question was who's the better player, we could have a much longer discussion. I would still say
but just for All-Star starter, I think DeRozan, just because he's a veteran.
Yeah, and just team success. I think a lot more comes into play. It's like MVP versus best player.
He's had, DeRozan's had multiple years of this kind of performance where Oladipo's a breakout star. Not saying he won't perform like this next year and years beyond that, but DeRozan's been playing well for a long time.
I mean, I get it, man, and I understand where you guys are coming from, but man, like, I can't shake the fact that if I'm an all-star voter and I'm looking at Oladipo and I'm going, this guy has brought a team whose third best player, debatably, is Thaddeus Young, and
he's good.
And look, he's okay. He's not a bad player, but what is he doing for a team that's contending? He's doing nothing. If you look at the Raptors roster, you've got about 6 guys on there that could really do something on a contending team. Not a star, but it could be a contributor, rotation guy. I think Oladipo and Miles Turner are the only 2 that would do anything on a championship team.
Yeah.
And the fact that Oladipo bounced back from his worst year and has just been such a great story, that's why I think he should be an all-star starter. I mean, he's worked a lot harder than I think DeRozan. DeRozan's already been there. And I think the thing is we've seen this story before. The Raptors win 50-plus games, and then they don't show up for the playoffs. And I know that we talked about that before, but I still, if I'm a voter, I'm going, am I going to vote for a guy who's going to average 15 points in the playoffs again? Or am I going to go and give a chance to a kid who's been bounced around the league a couple times now, given up by Orlando, which is baffling. I mean, if you really think about it, I was reading, there could be an Orlando Magic starting lineup of Vucevic, or Oladipo, Aaron Gordon, and Tobias Harris, and then someone else, Terrence Ross, I guess. And that's a playoff team. That's a playoff basketball team. And so they let go of him. OKC, who apparently the best way to do well is to just leave Russell Westbrook. You're right. Because look, James Harden, 30-point-per-game guy. Kevin Durant, MVP, Finals MVP. Probably the 4th best player in the world at this point. And even small guys, there's a double-double machine now.
Still no defense.
It's incredible to watch these guys just sort of get way better as they leave Russell, and I think he instills the mentality in them. But I mean, Oladipo's basically Russell Westbrook with all the stupidity at this point in his career. He's just carrying a team, and he scores a lot of points, takes a lot of shots, but he hits way more of those shots. And we gave Russ the MVP for being the 6th seed in the East in his conference last year. Why aren't we giving Victor Oladipo an All-Star starting nod for being 6th place in his conference this year by himself, basically? Because I think Miles Turner flopped a little bit this year, and I'd probably put him on the same level as Steven Adams. But yeah, that's what I think about that. I can't give it to DeRozan. I'm bored of watching him play well in the regular season, then act like he's not an all-star in the playoffs. I mean, he's not as bad as Lowry does it, but I mean, if Norman Powell has to save the Raptors one more time, I think they should just give him a supermax. That's all I'm going to say. All right, do you guys want to say anything else?
Well, you know what? We brought up Russell Westbrook. He's on my fantasy team, so I thought we'd get a good laugh out of this. Last night, he was 1 assist away from having a quadruple-double with 10 turnovers.
Oh,
man,
nice.
He sucks. I mean, he's
Terrible.
good, but he sucks for being good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can I just say, James Harden was my MVP last year.
Man, he can play. He's better than Westbrook, man. I get it. He doesn't run as fast. That's the thing I hate about Westbrook. Sorry to get off topic. I hate that people want to say Westbrook is better than Steph Curry and James Harden because he runs fast.
He's just more athletic.
He just runs fast. That's what he does. He runs fast and he has funny quotes in post game. That's everything that he does better than James Harden and Steph Curry. Even people say that he's faster, but it's just he looks faster. I was watching, I think, Undisputed the other day, and they're talking about Steph is the fastest player in the league with a basketball.
You think faster than John Wall?
No, statistically.
Oh, well, wow.
They hire second spectrum to do stats for them, advanced stats, and they're saying, yeah, Ben Simmons and Steph and Lonzo are the fastest players in the league with the ball, and John Wall. Russell Westbrook is not, because he spends, and it's not because he's the fastest top speed. It's because he spends so much time standing with the ball. So his top speed comes down because he doesn't get rid of the basketball. Like,
Yeah,
he's
those
just,
three guys you mentioned, they get the ball, they put it on the floor 2 times, and they throw it up the court.
or they make a decision. They shoot the ball. They get to the rim. Something.
Exactly.
And I don't know.
Russ
I don't want
just
to turn this into
fucks
a
around
Russell
on the shot
Westbrook
clock.
hate, because if
Yeah.
I'm doing a list of the best players in the league, Westbrook is somewhere between 5 and 7. I think him.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. I'd say 6 and 7. I think you can throw him, Anthony Davis, and Giannis any way you want. But I mean, look, he would be useless if it wasn't a guard-driven league. He'd be Stephon Marbury, like losing in the first round every year. That's what he is. He's not Kobe. If anything, Kyrie and Kawhi are Kobe types. He's just an angry little man who's sad that his lanky friend left him to go play with the little light-skinned kid in San Francisco. That's just what he is.
Savage.
Like, you see, to me, the thing was, everyone was like, oh, he averaged a triple-double.
He's doing it
Triple-double.
again this year, and nobody cares because his team sucks.
Yeah, but triple-doubles mean nothing to me unless they're productive, you
Yeah.
know? His
And, like-
triple-doubles were because Steven Adams would box out for him.
Yeah,
You know,
and like
where-
if you think
where
about it,
Harden was getting better triple doubles. You know,
Yeah.
Harden was getting 53, 16, and 17.
that was
and they
ridiculous.
Full,
Man.
and they were winning, and it was almost like he was doing the triple doubles better than Westbrook.
Yeah,
and that was a
yeah.
big thing.
I mean, Harden, I think, has averaged the last 2 years 50 points scored and assisted per game, which is ridiculous. Like, that's not fair. But I was going to say, I think I'm a LeBron fan. I think LeBron's better than Kobe. I think he's a top 3 player ever to play basketball. But the worst stat that LeBron fans use are he averaged a triple-double during the finals. LeBron James does a layup at the end of Game 3 instead of passing to Kyle Korver. And it's 2-2 going back, 3-2 going back to Cleveland. And then if you win that game and you go 7, does Kyrie Irving leave? Right? Like, he averaged a triple-double. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
So, I don't know. I think Westbrook's doing it again this year. I think he's 0.4 rebounds or assists away from a triple-double. And nobody cares because he can't use the I have no help excuse. Right?
Because the glow of a triple double has worn off, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. I
People
don't
are
know.
realizing, a triple double doesn't mean anything if
Because everyone
not-
can get it. Nick Batum had triple-doubles last year.
Dennis,
It's the way the
Dennis
NBA's
Smith Jr.,
played.
Lonzo Ball.
That elbow injury's bothering me though, Mike.
But yeah, I
Pissed
think
me
because
off.
it's a smaller league, guards can get boards easier. So a guy like Rondo, who would have scored, well, he was a triple-double guy, but
Oh, I love Rondo.
a guy like Rondo who would get 15 and 10 before, now that the center's 6'8", you can get 10 rebounds if you just run in at the right time. You're not guarding Shaq and Hakeem anymore. Like, it's just what it is. I don't know.
Rondo gets like 5 points, 6 rebounds, and 25 assists.
It's
He's
beautiful.
ridiculous.
He is the perfect point guard for that team if he could shoot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, I think that's gonna wrap it up. We kind of got off topic at the end. Before we go, I need a hot take from everybody. Artin, give me a hot take.
Hot take. DeLon Wright is this year's 6th man. He deserves the award. He's leading the best bench in the NBA. Without him, they were one of the worst benches in the NBA. Then he came back from injury, and now they're one of the best again. He's so good. He's made such big improvements through all these years, and he's better than Tyreek Evans.
You know that Lou Williams is averaging 22 points a game, right?
Yeah, but Lou Williams is basically a starter now.
Okay, Noah, give me a hot take.
DeAndre Jordan's coming to the Cavs, and he's saving the land. Bye-bye, Tristan Thompson. Go hang out with the Kardashians.
Okay, and my hot take is that not only is DeAndre Jordan going to come to the Cavs, but everyone is leaving the Cavs. They're trading everybody away. At the trade deadline, they're going to be a team, one of the first teams that's ever going to come through and have a almost entirely new team. I think they're going to keep their big three, and they're going to acquire Avery Bradley, Tyreek Evans, Lou Williams, Nikola Mirotic, and DeAndre Jordan at the trade deadline.
What?
And that's just what's going to
You're
happen. They're going to
insane.
sell all their picks, and they're going to sell all their players that aren't that big three by the middle of February, by the end of February. Their lineup is going to be IT, Lou Will.
Avery.
IT, Avery Bradley, LeBron, Mirotic, Kevin Love with Tyreek, Lou Will, and one more guy I forgot about coming off the bench. And they're going to be fun
they
to watch.
still got
They still
Wade
won't be able to
coming
play
off the
defense.
bench.
Oh, yeah, and they got Wade. But D-Rose is gone.
They won't trade Wade.
Nah. But that's what I think. I think they're gonna. Oh, DeAndre, and then Mirotic is on the bench. But yeah.
So you think LeBron's leaving next summer? Then that's why they're making these moves.
The Cavs are going to do absolutely everything they can and ship the whole house out to try to make him happy. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. You get that old Boston backcourt. You got Mirotic shooting. You got DeAndre playing defense. AB playing defense. You got Tyreek and Lou Will coming off. Nice bench backcourt that can create for themselves. That might be a championship team. They might not be a Golden State championship team, but you get lucky a couple times. That team's definitely beating Boston because there's no way Avery Bradley or Isaiah Thomas or LeBron let anybody on the Celtics beat them.
Cool.
Okay, that's probably not going to happen,
I really liked the hot take last week. Can you do that one as well?
I can't even remember it.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, sure.
At the end of this year, when the NBA Finals are over, Kawhi Leonard will have a ring on his finger.
Kawhi Leonard's going to have a ring. The Spurs will win it all this year. He doesn't even have an injury. His injury's not even a real thing if you look it up. He's literally just sitting on the bench resting for the playoffs. Like, the Spurs are gotten to the point where they're like, do we need to try in the regular season? Like, watch, he's going to magically be fine like 15 games before the season's over. And then he's going to
and in the best shape of his career.
Yeah, it's going to make no sense, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
We got to wrap it up. That was a lot of fun. Thanks to you guys for coming out. Look, this should be on the internet soon. And there will be more to come. And thanks for listening. If you listened all the way through, or if you listened to the final part of the podcast segment that I'm going to put on YouTube. Okay, bye-bye.